You think inflation is prices going up. Your groceries cost more because companies got greedy, or because something went wrong in the economy. But that's the symptom, not the disease. Inflation isn't prices rising, it's your money dying. Every year, the dollars in your account quietly lose a little of their power. Not by accident, not by bad luck, by design. Because there's a tax you've paid every single year of your life, and it's not on any payslip. No politician campaigned on it, no law ever passed it, you never saw a bill. But it quietly takes a cut of every dollar you own every year and hands it to whoever prints the money. Rulers have used it to fund wars, erase their debts, and quietly rob their own people for over 2,000 years without ever raising an official tax. Most people just call it the cost of living. And by the end of this video, you'll never hear that phrase the same way again, because I'm going to show you the exact machine that's been draining your money since before the Roman Empire, and the single reason it will never ever stop. Let's kill the myth first. When prices go up, we instinctively blame the sellers. Greedy corporations, price gougers, the coffee shop charging $7 for a latte. And sure, individual prices move for all kinds of reasons, but when everything goes up, all at once, year after year, decade after decade, that's not 1,000 greedy shopkeepers coordinating in secret. Something bigger is happening to the money itself. Here's the mental flip that makes the whole thing click. We think of prices rising, bread costs more. But you can flip that around. Bread didn't get more valuable, your money got less valuable. The loaf is the same loaf. It's the dollar in your hand that shrank. Inflation isn't things getting more expensive. It's your money getting weaker, and once you see it that way, the real question changes. It's not why are prices going up, it's why does our money keep losing power? And to answer that, we have to go back to the very first people who figured out how to do it on purpose. Rome. Around 2,000 years ago, the empire ran on a silver coin called the denarius, and at its peak, that coin was almost pure silver. Real, tangible value you could hold in your hand. But running an empire is expensive. Armies, roads, monuments, bribes, more armies. And emperors kept running into the same wall every ruler eventually hits. They wanted to spend more money than they actually had. Now, they had three options. Raise taxes, which makes people furious and occasionally makes them assassinate you. Conquer someone rich, expensive, and risky. Or a third option, a quiet one. What if you could just make more coins without any more silver? And here's the trick they landed on. The emperor started collecting the silver coins, melting them down and mixing in cheaper metal, copper, lead, whatever was lying around. A coin that was once pure silver became silver-plated. Same face stamped on it, same name, same official value. Just less silver inside and more junk. Do it a little and nobody notices. So they did it a little, then a little more, then a lot. Over roughly 2.5 centuries, the denarius went from nearly pure silver to less than 5% silver. The rest was filler. The emperors were quite literally spending money they created out of cheaper metal and pocketing the difference. Picture the imperial mint as a furnace. Real silver goes in, watered-down coins come out, and the emperor walks away with the leftover silver to fund his wars. That leftover is the tax. Nobody voted for it. Most people didn't even see it happen, but they felt it, because as the coins got junkier, prices across the empire started to climb. Their money was dying, one melt at a time. So here's the actual mechanism underneath all of it, Rome and every case since. It comes down to one brutally simple idea. The value of money depends on how scarce it is. Think about why gold is valuable and sand isn't. It's not that gold is more useful, you can't eat it, you can barely build with it. Gold is valuable because it's rare. There's only so much of it. The second something becomes easy to make in unlimited amounts, it becomes worthless. That's why nobody's getting rich mining sand. Money works the exact same way. When there's a fixed amount of money chasing a fixed amount of stuff, prices stay stable. But the moment you increase the amount of money without increasing the amount of actual stuff to buy, you haven't created any new wealth. You've just spread the same value across more units. Each unit is now worth less. That's it. That's inflation. More money. Same amount of stuff. So each dollar buys less of it. Rome did it by watering down coins with cheap metal. The mechanism was physical. You could hold the debased coin in your hand, but the effect was invisible, spread across millions of people who just noticed their money didn't go as far as it used to. And that invisibility is the entire point, which is exactly why, before we get to how we do this today, quick one. If a capybara walking you through 2,000 years of governments quietly robbing people is your kind of thing, the subscribe button genuinely keeps this channel alive. Baron appreciates it. back to it. Before we get to today, you need to understand why this keeps happening. Because Rome wasn't a one-off. This same move shows up again and again across totally different empires, currencies, and centuries. And it's not because rulers are stupid. It's because debasing the money solves three problems for a government at once, and no other tool does all three. First, it's a hidden tax. A normal tax has your name on it, and you get angry, and you vote the person out. Debasement takes the same money from you, but there's no bill, no signature, nobody obvious to blame. The public feels poorer and usually blames shopkeepers, foreigners, or the economy, almost never the people actually printing the money. It's the only tax you can levy without anyone realizing you did it. Second, it quietly erases the government's own debts. This is the one nobody thinks about. If a government owes a mountain of money and it makes that money worth less, then its debt gets easier to pay off in cheaper dollars. Inflation is a wealth transfer from everyone who saved money to everyone who owes money, and the biggest borrower in almost every society is the government itself. So the very institution creating the inflation is often its single biggest winner. Third, it's fast and it's silent. Raising taxes takes votes, arguments, angry crowds. Printing money takes an afternoon. When a government is desperate, losing a war, facing a crisis, drowning in debt, it is always the path of least resistance, every single time. So it's not a glitch that keeps recurring, it's a temptation baked into the very nature of controlling a currency. Hand any government the power to create money, and give it enough debt and desperation, and eventually it reaches for the furnace. It always has. Which brings us to now, because here's the uncomfortable part. We never actually stopped, we just made the furnace invisible. Rome had to physically melt coins and mix in cheap metal, slow, messy, and eventually obvious once the coins looked like garbage. We don't have that problem anymore. Our money isn't silver. It isn't backed by anything you can hold. It's just numbers. Numbers a central bank can create with a keystroke in whatever quantity it wants. As I showed you last time, most money is already conjured into existence by banks lending. The furnace didn't disappear. It got upgraded into a keyboard. And the results are exactly what Rome would recognize. Take a single dollar. Over the last 100 years or so, it has lost more than 90% of its purchasing power. A century ago, that $1 did the work that 20-something dollars do today. Nobody robbed you. There was no crash. It just quietly evaporated, slowly enough that in any single year you barely noticed, but relentlessly, decade after decade. That's not a malfunction of the system. That is the system, working exactly as designed. And now you can see the whole pattern. Inflation gets sold to you as weather, something that just happens, that experts manage, that we all have to endure. But it isn't weather, it's a choice. It is the oldest, quietest, most reliable way for those who control the money to take value from everyone who merely uses it. The Romans did it with a furnace. We do it with a keyboard. The technology changed. The theft didn't. So the next time you hear that prices went up, translate it. Prices didn't rise, your money got quietly, deliberately weakened, and someone, somewhere spent the difference before it reached you. Inflation was never the cost of living. It's the cost of trusting. Trusting that the number in your account means what it said yesterday. The emperors debased the coin and hoped you wouldn't notice. 2,000 years later, the only thing that's really changed is that now you have. Baron out. Go check your bank balance. I'll be on the couch.